Top 5 rogue decks of the format. We did the top 5 best decks for the KC Cup the other day, so these are the next best 5 decks, the best 5 rogue decks you can use. I want to start out with Galaxy Photon because this deck could have been in the top 5 video that we did the other day. I would put it there instead of Phantom Knights, but I decided to put it in this one instead of there. Again, I feel like PK is really strong, but this deck is also very good and has been very consistent for the past few months in what it does and how its deck looks. You have a great skill with this deck that allows you to have a good turn 1 and a good turn 2 play. Turn 1, you can of course go into your number 90 Photon Galaxy monster that negates your opponent's monster effects and destroys them, backed up with a Book of Moon and or a Forbidden Lance. It's a really good turn 1 play, but also turn 2, of course being able to just use a 1 card to go into an XYZ monster with your Galaxy Dragon is really powerful. Of course also with the XYZ engine that this deck has, being able to blow up a card with your various XYZ monsters and rank them to another one that does the same thing. Being able to blow up multiple cards with just with a 1 card XYZ summon is really powerful. And of course you also have all the revival spells in here, the Monster Reborn and the Galaxy revival card that allow you to top deck and play into the late game off of just drawing out 1 card off your deck in those situations. So you have a lot of things going for Galaxy here. Also of course being able to have that great OTK player, we can go into that 4,000 attack point XYZ monster, blow up a card and swing for game. That helps a lot during the KC Cup, especially during that second weekend. You want to play as many games as possible during that stage 2. So having a deck that can get through games really quickly and give you those wins is extremely important. So Galaxy, I expect to see plenty of it in stage 2 and have multiple tops in the top 100. Next up we have Necroz. So Necroz has been doing pretty good lately. It's been one of those sort of fringe meta decks or top rogue decks that's been playing pretty well in tournaments. Having a monster that you can search for that can end the battle phase I think is really powerful in KC Cup. Again, OTK decks are going to be very popular. People want to win games and get through games ASAP as soon as possible. They don't want to be wasting time, and having a monster that you can search for that basically ends your opponent's battle phase and can stop the OTK from happening is extremely powerful. Of course, you also got the little boost lately with the reinforcement of the army, allowing you to search for your Shuret Necroz monster, so getting a little bit of a boost there, but I would definitely expect to see Necroz doing well in this in this event. Of course, Trishula, have to mention that as well. The ability to banish something from your opponent's board, field, or board, graveyard, and hand is extremely powerful. And again, I would definitely expect to see Necroz taking some spots in the top 100. Because this deck has been doing fairly well the last couple months, but not too much else to say about it here. Next up, we have a deck that has gotten some support recently, and that this version of the deck is pretty new, and that's an Infirmity. This deck got a big support card recently here with the monster that we have the 3 of here, where whenever you have this monster on the board, you can discard your entire hand, and when it gets sent to the graveyard, you get to send an Infernity monster from your deck to your grave. So you can send your Archfiend or the new Fox monster to the graveyard. It's going to allow you to basically fill up your grave with everything you need to go into all your synchro summons and all your plays, while simultaneously getting rid of everything in your hand if you need to discard anything from your hand. That way, of course, you can activate all the Infernity monster effects because they require you to have nothing there, but you still have the Shelva Ghost skill that goes with it. A very powerful extra deck here too. A lot of different options between the Cyber, Harpy Lady, Dark Highlander. Being able to lock your opponent out of synchro summoning is really big right now. There are a ton of synchro decks at the top, obviously. Black Rose Dragon synchro summons. This deck does, but there's a number of different decks that do right now, and being able to shut them all down with that one monster can win you games a lot of the time. Of course, we can also go into the Rhinoceros, which is another extremely powerful monster that can be difficult for a lot of decks to out. So Infernity has a lot going for it right now, and of course, again, this is an OTK deck. Your turns do take a little bit of time to get through, but nonetheless, so this deck does still end games quickly a lot of the time. So your games aren't going to go on forever the way they will with some control decks. Again, OTK decks and decks that can win games fast are always going to be beneficial in the KC Cup, just because of the nature of the format. You're benefited for playing as many games as possible. So not saying that's a good thing, because obviously you don't want to burn out, but you do want to play as many games as possible in this event to rank up in stage 2 anyways. So next up we have Crystrons. Now I don't expect to see a ton of this deck, I guess I would say, in the top 100, because it's kind of difficult to pilot. I feel like this is a deck that you really have to know what you're doing with it to have success, and your games can kind of go on for a little bit with it. I feel like as a result, because of the way the way this deck works sometimes with constantly having to send things to the graveyard and then banishing them, getting the effects and the pluses and everything. So but I do expect to see Crystron decks to do well in this event. I do think that there are a few players who are really good with this deck, who are going to have success in stage 2 with this deck and do extremely well with it. They obviously got a big list off the recent ban list. This deck had 4 cards that were limit 2. which essentially means that they had 2 cards that go with this deck that they couldn't use at all. With both of those coming off now, they can use all 4 of those cards. Yeah, they can only use 1 copy of the 2 limit 2s in here, but now they have 3 copies of Scrap Recycler, 3 copies of Rion. They basically just added 6 cards to their deck. I fully expect Crystrons to do well in this event. I expect a few players to be in the top 100 with it. I'm going to be kind of disappointed if this deck doesn't have a couple players in the top 100, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets in the top 10 with this deck either. So kind of looking forward to seeing if Crystron does that. It's also going to be a little scary because I know playing against this deck can be really frustrating. So, but we'll see if any of the Crystron players can have success in Stage 2 of this KC Cup. Really looking forward to seeing what this deck will do. And then next up we have one, I don't know if I should include this deck here or not, but I am, Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier is a phenomenal deck, being able to synchro summon into a ton of different options. It has really easy access to the Terrestrial Engine. Territorial Shark, the skill, also gives you access to a number of different XYZ options in the deck as well, so your extra deck can go into a number of different things, Brionac, and all the various water XYZ or synchro monsters, and there's a ton of good ones now, so the skill doesn't feel as restricting as it did before with those great options available in the game now. And Ice Barrier is really consistent too, with the spell card, the medallion card that can search whatever Ice Barrier monster you need out of your deck, and the other Ice Barrier is giving you pluses to summoning things from the deck to the board. This deck is extremely consistent, really powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see several copies of this in the top 100 as well. So it was kind of tough to pick for these last couple spots because I definitely feel like there's a few different decks that could have been here, but I want to put Ice Barrier here because I really do think that this deck has been doing well lately. Definitely on ladder, been getting some tops in tournaments here and there, but it's been doing well on ladder as well. A lot of people playing with it. I know it's the new deck, so a lot of people playing with that, but nonetheless, so I wouldn't be surprised if Ice Barrier does take a few spots in this top 100. I think the deck is a little bit underrated by some players. Yeah, and look out for Trishula, because that can summon it really easily. So anyways, if you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps with the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day.